there, welcome to a brand new episode of Off-Road TV. Today I've travelled a little over 65 kilometres to get to Mirigama to the Canway Autodrome track for the Four-Wheel Championship 2015 organised by the Four-Wheel Drive Club. Giving these competitors the chance to walk away with more points on the table to hopefully walk away with the grand prize. Not just that, we've got the latest four-wheel manufacturers here with their latest cars and vehicles to show off what they've got. So stick around. This is Off-Road TV, where you're up for a bumpy ride. been given several vertical cliffs to overcome. Their objective to get as many points in as little time as possible. Episode, we found out what we have to work with and how we're going to put it together. Today, the parts are ready, the tools are ready, and we are about to go to war.
Basically now we are going to set the axles onto the chassis. So we must make sure the wheelbase is marked. So ideally for this type of racing, 100-inch or more is better. So ideally 100 to 102 inches of wheelbase. So now Francis here is marking the chassis where the axle is going to come before we take the axle out. And you can also see it's a very light chassis which will be reinforced later. And now we are ready to start the assembly of the chassis with the arms.
Alright, so what do we have collected here? It all looks very intense. What's happening?
Okay. We talked about the axles and the chassis.
Right.
And now we have to basically mate all these together. So the suspension system is what holds the chassis to the axles. So it's basically your vehicle is sitting on the chassis frame. The chassis frame just floats over the axles, and the axles is what follows the terrain. So the suspension of a design is what makes it, the car to follow the terrain very nicely. So basically what we're going to do here is these are called front. These are leading arms. These are trailing arms. It's pretty much the same thing, but technically leading means it's going to go to the front. Trailing means it's going to drag.
Okay.
Right. So these are also the front arms are also from the axle that the whole assembly that we picked up. It's from the Land Cruiser 2. So this will just very easily mate up to the to the brackets there. So there's not much modification to do. So it's just a bolt on, and then basically the other end of the arms we need to mate to the chassis. Same way in the back, since we used the Hilux one, we used the Land Cruiser arms, but we just basically weld the brackets in the position that we want. So these arms basically hold the chassis to the axle. So this is the strength. So if you see on a extreme class competition guy is just going and banging against stuff, this is the stuff which is taking the beating. So that's why you see them, it's robust. So here also we are, like you said, your budget, we are conscious about budget. We also have to be a bit conscious about weight. So all these areas, even the body that you look behind, that's why we chose like this, because we're going to shed a lot of weight. We're going to put this on a diet, take stuff out, and make sure whatever we're going to add, that we come up with the ideal weight of about 1,200 kilos.
Today we have travelled hundreds of kilometres to get to Habarana to the Kamatha Eco Lodge to find out more about how you can have a wonderful and fantabulous expertise-driven 4x4 experience. And to talk about it, here with me right now is of Kamatha Eco Lodge, Warner Olive. Hi, Warner. How are you doing?
I'm good.
All right, so Warner, you have a brilliant setup here. We'd like to talk about it. You have a little bit of a hut, you have breakfast, lunch, dinner. You have everything ready for anyone who is willing to come here and have a good time. Tell us about what you generally offer.
Basically, we have this kind of concept, this Watland dog concept, and we serve traditional foods like roti and that kind of thing. And then we have to offer the safaris, the camping, kayaking, the 4x4 adventure, that kind of thing we offer here.
So anyone who'd like to maybe take a long weekend off, you can come here with your family and your friends and have a good time on the expense of you. All right, so this guy is a professional. He's been in the industry for over 22 years, am I right? All right. And what do you do now? You go, you take part in 4x4 racing as well, right?
I'm the chief scout of this Taprobana thing, and I help in all the events, 4x4 events as well. Yeah.
So not only do you have expertise in 4x4, you also have expertise in wildlife, safari. So the whole deal, if you want to come here, your safety will be guaranteed by Warner Olive. We'd like to talk about the fact that sometimes we have a Jeep, say we just bought a Jeep and you want to go 4x4 off-road racing or just to have the experience. If you don't know how to handle a vehicle like that, but you still want to get that experience, what do you do? How can you help us?
Actually, there are different trails for like beginners, like new beginners, then the intermediate, and the people who are like really good. So we can take them on it and teach them how to use the equipment and give them a training as well.
Okay, so today we are trying to go on a little bit of a trail. How would your general day start and how would it end? Tell us what the procedure would be if I were to go with you.
It depends. It depends on what type of interest you have. Like if you need an extreme thing, it's like then through mud and water and all that. Yeah. But if you want a very light thing, we can just do that as well.
Okay. Yeah. So we have breakfast, we leave, we're going to have lunch in between?
In my campsite, there's a place where we'll be having lunch there.
Okay, so that's halfway through the trail?
Yes.
Okay, wow, this is going to be a brilliant experience. So if someone would like to come here, all they have to do is just contact you and get here.
Yeah.
All right, one or all of that, everybody. Don't forget, we'll mention the name of your Eco Lodge as well.
Okay. Kamata Eco Lodge.
Kamata Eco Lodge is the place to be. This is Habarana, and thanks so much, Moana. Thank you. On the New Car Report today, we're introducing to you the Toyota Land Cruiser. And instead of going very technical, we decided to talk to someone who uses a Toyota Land Cruiser. Hi, Charles Bear. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sasha.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. Charles, you're from the States and you've been here how long?
I've lived in Sri Lanka for just 3 years now.
Okay. And how has your Toyota Land Cruiser been to you?
It's been amazing. When I moved here 3 years ago, I was amazed by the amount of outdoor opportunities there are for adventure here. So I immediately started looking for a proper vehicle in order to help me do that. I'd used a vehicle similar to this for 3 years when I lived in Ethiopia, and I wanted something similar. So this is what we bought. I'm not a hardcore four-wheeler, but I have a family. We like to camp and we like to explore very remote places where there's not a lot of tourists and things. So it's been a perfect vehicle for us.
Have you maybe made any modifications to her?
She's basically stock right now. I've done a little bit of accessorizing. I've
And
done
you-
the roof rack, heavy-duty bumper, and some shock absorbers. But just stock, this is a very capable off-road vehicle.
And you were telling me your wife drives her too, yeah?
Oh, my wife drives. This is our daily driver. She takes my children to school. She gets the groceries, and we use it on weekends. We've driven 30,000 kilometers in Sri Lanka, everywhere from Point Pedro to Dondra Point, everywhere in between. We've had it deep up into the Knuckles Range, all the way at the top of Kalpitiya Peninsula, where there's nothing but ocean and sand, and into deepest jungles you can imagine, with no worries at all. It's been a perfect vehicle.
Brilliant. Now, she's been good to you here in Sri Lanka. I hear you're taking her somewhere else as well.
Yes, I work for the U.S. government. I get transferred every couple of years, and I've just been transferred to Africa. I'll be moving to Zimbabwe in actually about a week now. So in a week, this vehicle is getting put on a boat and shipped to South Africa, and it'll be sent up to me in Durban, up in Harare, Zimbabwe. So obviously she'll be ready for Africa for our next adventure. I'm quite sure in the next 3 years this vehicle is going to see Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, and maybe something more adventurous than that.